It's Wales on Saturday, not Wales on Sunday. Siya Kolisi is back.
Woo!
106 days after undergoing a massive surgery that most said we're keeping him out of the game for 9 months. A miracle that he leads the Boks on Saturday, or madness?
I don't care. I'm just thrilled Captain Kolisi's back. Fantastic. Good to see him there. Let's hope that he hits the ground running and that he gets through, I don't know, however long they've set for him, he gets through it with no problems.
I just don't want him to hit the ground.
At all.
I just want him to make his 40 minutes. Get through 40 minutes of contact, get out of there, make sure that he's either fit to have 40 minutes against the All Blacks, but that he's there for that opening game against Scotland. We know what an inspiration he is. I just can't believe that a recovery can be that complete, that big. His family are calling it a miracle. Is this going to be the miracle that the Boks needed? They've been indifferent leading into this World Cup. They've won 10 from their last 17. Disappointing rugby championship. They won 3 out of the 4 games, but the 2 games that they went in with what we thought was as close as we're going to get to their best team, they were poor. They were poor in New Zealand. They were poor at Ellis Park. And then the team that was playing with desperation and hunger, outstanding against Australia and very good against Argentina. A lot of those guys didn't make the World Cup squad.
Yes.
Now, Zels, my question is this.
Talk me through it.
That 23 that he's picked to take on Wales.
Yes.
It's as close as we're going to get. Eben and Faf obviously will come back. That's as close as we're going to get to that Scotland opener.
I don't know, mate. You left out Andre Pollard.
Andre Pollard will be available by the time the World Cup kicks off. We got to see who goes.
Yeah. No, I think you're 100% spot on. I think that will be the team. I like the look of the back three with Kane and Rudy in there. Interesting to see them go with Damien Delendi and Jesse Creel together this week again. Jacques spoke about building continuity, so I'm guessing that is the way they're going to go there. It'd be good to see Jaden and Ox also back for their first test of the year, and it would be great if we get solid performances from all 3 of those guys. That's exactly the kind of boost these guys need at this point after the little swell of bad news we've had recently. So,
all right, so the front row. Kitsi, Bongi, and Franz. That's going to start. They're going to start. Scotland. Boks will come off the bench. That's how they're playing it. We know Eben will start. Who starts with him is going to be the key. I don't think it'll be Ahir. He'll come off the bench. It could be Klein or Marvin Ori. So that's what they're playing for. Then Peter Steff is shooing at 7. Siya, if he gets through it, he's a shooing at 6. And I think Dwayne will start ahead of Jasper, but Dwayne's in the 23. Jaden Hendricks playing for potentially a spot on the bench, although Grant Williams is the more versatile. He can play wing. You can slot him in at fullback even, and that athleticism at 9. And then Damian Williamson covers everything. So, as we said, Faf will come back. Eben will come back. Outside of that, this is as good as it gets.
Yes.
Now, the question is, it's as good as it gets.
Is it good enough?
Because we saw the same personnel not step up to the plate in Mount Smart in Auckland.
I like the way you
when
said
I expected them to do a hammer blow and take out the Argentinians. They were pathetic.
Yes, they weren't good.
And then the youngsters went and ran the ball around and were magnificent in getting a result in Buenos Aires. Wales played their kids 20 points to 9 at the Millennium Stadium, the Principality. Then they went to Twickenham. They played all their senior dogs. They were 17-9 up, 15 players on 12, 10 minutes to go. So much for superior conditioning. They were hanging on to not concede another two or 3 points, and they lost 19-17, okay?
Yes.
Turgid game. It's 80 minutes of my life I will never get back. But to do justice to the show, I had to watch it. And to tell you, through all the trauma that I saw Wales and England inflict on each other, I am particularly nervous about Saturday.
Why?
I'm going to tell you why, Zels.
Oh, come on.
I'm going to tell you why. Since Rassie and Jacques have taken over. Okay. Since they've taken over.
4 out of 5.
They have played Wales 7 times.
Right.
They have won 4 and they've lost 3. The biggest winning margin was in that must-win test in Cape Town. They won 30 points to 16. They won by 14 points. They have snuck a 5-pointer when they went over there after the Lions series in Cardiff. They got beaten 20 points to 11 there. They lost in Washington, D.C. They've won 1 by a point. They've lost 1 by a point. World Cup, it was 1916. Somehow these pedigreed players from Wales give us a hard time. I mean, I've bashed these guys. I've been bullish. Wales,
You?
online, I make the most humblest of apologies. I've underestimated them every time, overestimated us, said we will trample them into the ground, watched in horror as Damien Willems had to get us out of the dwang at Loftus, and then watched that Kiwi come Welshman, Gareth Anscombe, bury us with a late conversion in Bloemfontein. Sanity restored after a tough 40 in Cape Town. We were there cheering on from behind the post with a Welsh legend, Scotty Gibbs. But there's respect. There's respect for me, for Wales, because they are like a very, very average Afrikaans-dominated rugby team that doesn't go away. No matter what you do, they come back at you.
Mate, that might be one of the greatest rugby monologues I've ever gone through. Spectacular. To quote one of the greatest rugby minds of the 21st century, Boks by 10.
Boks by 10, a comfortable 10, but this isn't our prediction show. This is our analysis show. And giving commentaar on
the Boks are going to win this match. Wales have won 4 of the last 5 matches against the Springboks in Wales, but they've only won 5 matches against the Boks in Wales. So they don't have a great record there. Yes, Warren Gatland is piecing this team together again. Yes, they played some good rugby in the past. The reality is they played against 12 men and couldn't beat them on the weekend. We are the world champions. If we cannot be confident going into this match this weekend, what are we even doing?
Okay, I'm not confident because these same players haven't put together 2 big performances when I thought they would. One against New Zealand in New Zealand and one at home at Ellis Park in Jacques Nienaber's final test. All the World Cup winning squads were there. Great hurrah, and we had a defensive session.
Yeah.
65% of the ball went the RG's way. They just weren't good enough to finish us off.
Yes.
Wales will have a hunger and desperation that we don't have. There are going to be a lot of blokes playing to get into Gatland's team. Our team is already there. It's picked. How big a factor is that?
I think it's a factor, but I don't think they're on the level. I mean, they've played some good stuff. Erge Snyman and Jean Klein are 2 monsters that Wales wish they had. They just don't have the cattle to front up against Frans Malherbe, Stephen Kitsoff. It's not going to happen. The Boks are going to roll these guys. Maybe the scoreline will be tighter than people expected, but the Boks are going to win this weekend.
Is 10 a tight score? You're thinking it could be a 20-pointer, a blowout?
I think the Boks are going to be worth more. Whether they actually produce it, I don't know. There is a little bit of, the captain coming back and et cetera,
you kind of...
Boks will win.
Already you're backpedaling on that confidence.
Not backpedaling, just saying the Boks will win. It's not going to be a 20-point victory, but the Boks are going to win this one.
Okay. What do you, as the editor of SA Rugby magazine, as an ardent Boks supporter, as a patriotic South African, but also as a sober voice, if you've checked his timeline, you'll know that. What do you want to see and take from this game on Saturday in the context of the World Cup?
I want to see the cohesiveness that had been missing, and I don't think you're going to get it straight up, but I want to see progress made there, where we aren't dictated to. We dictate the terms. We aren't having to resort to gimmicky lineouts to try and win our ball. Our maul is going forward. On defense, we're making positive hits and then backing that up. In the kicking game, we take control of the field. And I want our goal kicker, number 1, I want our goal kicker to split the uprights every time he points to the sticks.
Look, you're a hard taskmaster, but you've asked for the complete game.
I have. And that's what I expect from the world champions. Those are the elements.
Look, I just want them to just throw some passion, enthusiasm, and just to make a statement, for God's sake.
Sure.
I mean, I don't want the complete game.
A lot of intangibles.
I don't want Rassie and Jacques to show their whole hand, even though we know the players they've got have showed their hand. I just want them to look the part just once.
That's it.
Just once before we get to the World Cup. Which brings me back to Scotland and France, especially the game last weekend. That Scottish side had 6 changes, so 2/3 of that side had played 1 game. None of those 15 French players had started a game for a few months.
Yes.
They looked like they were in the heart of the Six Nations. The intensity they played with, the cohesion that they played with, the structure, the pace of the game. I thought it was just one of a brilliant international game of rugby. It had nothing, no hint of a World Cup warm-up as the one at Twickenham had an hour before that. are we capable of producing a game of that intensity, or is everything hinged on we've got to hit the ground running against Scotland at the World Cup? Because we don't have the luxury of a hit out against Romania, then Scotland. It's Scotland, then Romania, and then Ireland. Where you either then are flying in a World Cup or you're on your way home.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit concerned that that Jean Klein came out and he was saying that like every game is a must-win now. Our World Cup has already begun. Maybe he was just talking, but we shouldn't be in that position where we feel like this warm-up match against Wales is a must-win. And I feel like they've probably been in that mode for a while now. And I don't know how long you can stay desperate before the wheels start to come off. So hopefully that was just talk and they're trying to give Wales the impression that they respect them as a rugby nation. But for me, what's got to happen is physically we've got to show that we can outmuscle these guys. It was interesting to see Cheslin say that the Boks are way more conditioned than they were in better physical condition than they were at the last World Cup, because we haven't actually seen that deliver on the field. And whether that's because of how they've tapered their training, maybe they're really pushing it in training and the guys are a little bit sort of overrun, I don't know. But it would be great to see them, and this talks to what you said about the enthusiasm, it would be great to see them looking a little bit fresher this week and flexing a bit and dominating the collisions like we expect them to. So that's what I'm looking for.
Look, Jean Klein maybe have forgotten that he's with the Boks, not with Ireland, okay? So you're with the Boks, be confident. It's not a must-win game. Not every game's a must-win game. You guys are the history of it. You lost your opening game at the World Cup and you came back and won the tournament. You created history.
Touché.
So I like what you say there because it's something that's been in the back of my mind. I haven't expressed it to you yet because I've been waiting for that.
moment.
I've been waiting for the moment. But could it be that they've been trained into the ground to peak at the World Cup? That the conditioning coaches say there's no way they can be sharp. They have to be flat because of the work they've done in the week. But they're still good enough to have got a win against Argentina, got through that game. Why I'm questioning that is because then how come the other 50% are looking fresh and getting through games with a lot more enthusiasm? Is it because they wanted a bit more, they haven't been there before, they're fighting to be the number one in the position? If it goes pear-shaped on Saturday, Zels.
Which it won't.
If it goes pear-shaped, Zels.
Is it time to change the coaches?
Do we have a problem, Moscow?
Oh, mate. Absolutely.
Houston and Cape Town.
I desperately want to believe that this is all part of some big plan. But like, I kind of fell off that bandwagon after what we did on the interview tour, what we did against Wales last year, and then how we started the season. So I think there's a little bit of panic setting in there. Having said that, as I keep saying, we do have the weapons. We just need to just not overthink it, get back to basics, do the physical stuff right, pick the right players in the right positions, and things will fall into place. So I really do hope that that is the case. We've trained super, super hard for whatever reason. The idea is that during the World Cup, everyone's just going to be rolling downhill at full speed. Fantastic.
All right, given the way their preparation has been done, clandestine, got the master plan, we don't quite know what it is, but we must trust in them, okay?
Trust them.
They won it before, they'll do it again. As you said, your credit kind of extended vastly to them and your goodwill for 3 years. They smashed Wales. And then they play the B team against New Zealand to see their depth. New Zealand's not going to play their best team.
Yep.
And we go to the World Cup. Everything's on track. There's a hiccup against Wales. Do they then play the best team again to try and beat New Zealand to get a winning habit? There's a lot of questions in this build.
That's the worrying thing for me is that
you're worried.
You got me, busted. What I'm saying is that I hope behind the scenes it all makes perfect sense, because on this side of the fence it looks like a bit of a clown show, and so we shouldn't be reacting to what happens. If you're the Boks coach, you've had three plus seasons to get ready for this World Cup. It shouldn't matter what happens against Wales on Saturday. This is just tapering off to the World Cup now.
I keep on saying it shouldn't have mattered what happened against Argentina in Buenos Aires. If you tell me that after 4 years you're telling a player you've got 40 minutes to show me you belong in the World Cup squad, then there's been something amiss with your planning.
Yes.
A coach either believes in a player or he doesn't.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And we quite clearly know who Rassie and Jacques believe in because they keep on picking them. If you look at the starting 15 for the 2019 World Cup final, the only players not involved who won't run out are either injured, and there's two of them. That's Pollard and Lukanya or they're retired, and that's Tendawai Matirewa,
Intawarira.
the beast. And then on the bench, it's Francois Lowe and Franz Steyn from the bomb squad, and they've retired. So it's an incredible feat to take the same group of players through 4 years and be there. 90% of that squad that's available, you've picked 100% of that's available, of that starting, and they've matched 23.
But
is that a good or a bad thing? Klein Stradom, one of the fans who has given an entry into the Keo daily blog, has said he's worried. Klein is concerned that loyalty is not necessarily a quality and a gift, but a curse. Is there been too much investment in these oldies?
I think Klein may have a point there. I mean, on paper, it's fantastic. The one thing the Boks don't have right now, and we spoke about this in the last couple of episodes, is cohesion. The whole point of picking the same team that you had at the last World Cup is that you bring that cohesion and experience with you. So we don't have half of the one thing that we're supposed to have from picking the same team. That is a massive concern, I would say. If the guys are falling down injured and you know, for whatever other reason, but the team was gelling and everything that they were playing to, the systems were all operating at a high level. You say, okay, it all makes sense. But in a way, some of the old dogs are struggling, and it's some of the other guys that seem to be performing. And so hopefully it's all part of a master plan, but it does create doubt and worry.
All right, now I did a Sunday Times column where I said, let's marry perspective with patriotism. Made a lot of people angry. You're not patriotic. You're back in the box. Boys back in the box. Box my 10.
Yeah.
But the reality is 110 from 17. Okay, I feel like I'm Jerry Springer talking to the masses at the moment. And just have a bit of perspective, okay? And our job is to chat rugger. Praat bietjie bal, as Radio Raps would say.
Yeah.
And to kind of throw out opinions and invite opinions back.
Yes.
Let's not be that ostrich with they head in the sand and actually say, just blindly support the Boks. Because you're going to be in for a very, very tough emotional time.
33% of the time.
Exactly. It's now 62.6% is our win average. We've dropped to below 63%.
Unacceptable.
And that is not good.
That's
okay?
a problem.
That is a problem for us. So just understand, we are not anti-South Africa. We are not pro-New Zealand, and we certainly are not on the side of France. We are just saying, hey guys, there was such goodwill in 2009 and there was such momentum, and there's just been, this is kind of reminding me so much of that awful 2003 campaign, and I was involved in that up until a point. Clandestine, lack of transparency, no one's allowed to ask the coach a question, no one's entitled to an answer. Don't follow blindly, ask questions, back the team.
Bingo.
But ask, how amazingly wonderful is it that a captain can be back after 106 days and the average guy takes 9 months? Now, I'm thrilled that Siya's back. But is this going to be in 3 years' time, Siya can hardly walk?
Demand van Staal.
You know, so it's kind of, wow, the pressure that's on that guy. He is the miracle man. He is an inspiration. And it's just, there doesn't seem to have been this cohesive plan around how we get there, or there's been a lack of honesty in telling us what the plan is.
Correct.
And you can tell the public the plan without giving away your state secrets.
Sure.
As simple as that.
Sure. Or you have to eat the doubters, right? You have to accept that there will be doubts if you're not going to play open cards.
Look, I asked you earlier, what are you trying to get out of the game? What I want to get is a bit of a statement performance. What I don't want to get is Siya going down.
Oof.
And I certainly don't want to get one of our hookers going down.
Jeez.
Because if Bongi or Malcolm Marx doesn't make it to the
I'm
World
not making
Cup,
any more shows.
I don't think Dion Ferreira will be starting, and I don't think they'll be flying in Joe Dweber. Grobbies, put on your boots, mate. And that's going to cause a problem as well, because where's Grobbies been this year?
Put down the Fritos, mate. Get back to training.
So Scotty Gibbs, the legend, the icon, Welsh, British and Irish Lions, Great Britain, St. Helens, brick shit house with all the skill. Centre, one of my favourite rugby players, a wonderful supporter of the Springboks in South African rugby, but a Welshman true and true. He said this is going to be the litmus test for Wales on Saturday to show the Welsh public where they are. And that's why I come back to my nervousness. That hunger, that desire. And we all know what happens to the boys when they get to Cardiff. They take a little jaunt down Mary Street. They see Mr. Chippy. They see who's going into Mr. Chippy. And the mind starts swimming a bit. And it's not quite Cape Town Stadium. It's not quite Loftus. It's not quite anywhere in South Africa. And these Welsh guys, they find that fire, that dragon fire. I've written you guys off for the past 4 years, and I've been embarrassed every time.
I don't know about every time.
Well, most times. All I can say is, this will be the only time I speak about Wales in the last 4 years, and I'm not having a go at Alan Wing.
You're jinxing them, mate.
It's Alan Wing Jones, you're no longer there.
Captain Plod's out.
He's in Toulon. But
Right.
yeah, it's going to be a great game. We will chat later in the week when we give our predictions
Yes.
for all the games this weekend. But Super Siya Kolisi is the story. Zels wants the complete game. I just want a game.